You spoke about malnutrition. We always hear about donations of food to the camps and all that. So how come there's still the problem of malnutrition?
You see, the crisis is enormous, and there's a lot of work going on. But unfortunately, to our mind, it is not a concerted effort. And if you don't mind, I would like to use the Ebola crisis. When there was Ebola in Nigeria, it affected Lagos as a whole. But all Nigerians realized that it actually was their problem, because if something wasn't done, it would affect the whole country. And there was a command and control center, one major institution that was responsible. Anybody, public, private sector, that wanted to donate or do anything for the system spoke to that command and control center. So there was coordinated efforts in terms of providing that donation. So the sporadic, well, I say, contributions that people are doing are fantastic, but we need coordination. We need that collaboration that is required to make a real difference in the society for the internally displaced people.
But Dr. Komu, there have been different initiatives towards rebuilding the Northeast. There was a presidential initiative and all of that. But how effective have those different initiatives, as they may be, how effective have they been if we're still looking for coordination to manage all the donations in terms of food and health and all of that? How is it that these initiatives are not working?
Well, I think the size and the scope of the problem is a factor here. And then the fact that we don't have perhaps a very cerebral approach to solving this problem of developing or redeveloping the Northeast. Those are the two things I see, but let me just go back again, just back up a little. Now, the real issue here is what are our goals? I mean, what kind of strategies have we developed? When I say we, I mean as a society, as a government, as a people, for bringing these people back in. I hear public officials saying, we got to get them back in there in 2 weeks. We got to get them back in there in 4 weeks. But where are you getting back? Where are you getting them back into? Mm-hmm. Because you have unexploded ordnance all over the place. That is bombs. Mm-hmm. You have devastated communities. My good friend Mr. Issa Gusa just talked about some homes that were built. You need millions of. You need Homestead, where he said they destroyed 931,000 personal homes, but we just commissioned 24,000 homes. So what I'm saying is the need far out, numbers what is on ground. So I think I see it from a more global, maybe because I'm a strategist, I see it from a different perspective. I'm saying, look, there's a need to quickly do something on ground and show that we are doing something. But I think I kind of want to take a more problem-centric approach, like what the lady from the Health Foundation is doing, is look at, first of all, nutrition. Nigeria has joined the group of people starving their kids because of the crisis in the Northeast. And then we have a situation where the government is arguing with the UN that no, we don't have hunger in the Northeast. But the existential truth is that there is hunger in the Northeast, whether you deny it or not. Now, the security of the area, before you can build and send people back home, it must be secured, it must be pacified adequately. We have a lot of problem. Recently in the East, we found that the civil war that ended since 1970, we still found unexploded ordnances. Talk more of an active, we're not so, maybe now, let's call it a passive conflict zone. So you can't just make those kinds of assumptions. Now, another contribution to the hunger, malnutrition, you force people to go back home because there is enforced relocation of IDPs back to their home now. Now, you force people to go back home. What are they going back home to? The farms are mined. They've been mined by Boko Haram. So they are going to go in there and get slaughtered. Now, aside from that, the worst one was just what happened this week. We had at least one incident where Boko Haram went and kidnapped a large number. That's what their usual MO, mass kidnappings. So I still worry about these kinds of scenarios. Yes, of course.
But the military is talking about continuous sweeping of the areas for all the things, mines and unexploded ordnances.
Yes.
Isn't that helping in any way?
It is certainly helping. That's what they're supposed to do. What I'm saying is, look, let's not be in a hurry. Let's be, and I've said this several times, let's not be in an undue haste to send these people back home. What does that mean? It means that in the centers where they are being held, we should govern the IDP centers better. The problem right now is that those IDP centers are not being properly governed, and there's a lot of chaos. And so that's really so it's like, okay, let's get these guys back home quickly and they can take care of themselves. But they can't take care of themselves if they don't have ability to fend for themselves.
Let's hear from Mr. Gusau, because he's on ground. He's from Borno, and he has said that they're resettling some of them. Now, Mr. Ekomu has raised an issue here. They are being resettled, but what are they being resettled into? Their farms have been destroyed, so a lot of them don't have any means of livelihood. So what is the government doing about that?
First of all, Governor Shettima if there's one person that should be more concerned about the welfare of the citizens of Borno State, particularly on this issue of safety, I think Governor Shettima should come first. Because he's a politician, he's a leader of the state. He knows what it means if you send any displaced person to his community and then anything happens. Naturally, he will bear the brunt. Now, first of all, there is never an enforced relocation of IDPs. Never. In fact, on the contrary, there are certain areas that, as a rule, we ensure that IDPs do not go back to. There are places within the northern part of Borno, like Marte, like Malam Faturi, in Abadan local government areas. As a rule, Governor Shettima has insisted that on no account should any IDP think about returning. Now, what people need to know is that these IDPs, we have had cases where IDPs disappeared from these camps and returned to their communities. Most of these places that were affected by the Boko Haram, insurgents, there are individuals, about 478,000 IDPs live across 22 local government areas, mostly in the headquarters. And in each of these places, there are humanitarian agents, there are members of the military, there are officials of the Borno State government who are operating. Somehow they discuss with the IDPs still in camps, and then we realized we were having incidents where we will just wake up IDPs. You can't stop IDPs from going out of their camps. Some of them were returning to their communities, and there was the concern that if the government did nothing, some of them might end up going to resettle in their houses where there were cases of mines. So what the governor did was that we went into a collaboration with an expert group that is specialized in clearing of mines. Before works are started in any community, there are procedures. The first procedure is to clear from the military, to ensure that the military does not carry out any operation in that area. The second thing is that the Borno State Environmental Protection Agency, working with a consultant company, goes to clear the mines. This is what we do. Apart from that, the governor ensures that civil society is restored to the community, particularly the Nigerian police force. Courts are rebuilt, schools are rebuilt, hospitals are rebuilt, and then civilian JTF are enforced with vigilantes to ensure that the community is believed to be absolutely safe before individuals are allowed to return to this community. So it's not as if it's something that we just do just like that. Earlier, I told you that we're working in 14 local government areas at the moment. Out of these 14 local government, I think only 4, I can say that IDPs have returned. IDPs have returned to Konduga, they have returned to Kaga, and then some of them are in Chibok. A lot of them are in Chibok, a lot of them are in some of the local government areas in the satellite camps. But most of the IDPs that had been had been in the last 2 years in most of these camps, they have not returned to these places until we are 100% sure that not only are their houses rebuilt, basic necessities of life like water, healthcare, sanitation, education, their means of livelihood, particularly markets and their farmlands, are put in place. Initially, I told you when Chief Bola Tinubu went and commissioned houses in Kaga and Kondoga local government areas, there were a lot of agricultural equipment that were also commissioned. There were poultries, there were farms with irrigation equipment. Women were provided with couple of livestock, and things
Mr.
like that.
Gusau, I beg your pardon.
I mean, you can't take people just to
Mr. Gusau,
and start living. And I want to respond.
Mr. Gusau, I beg your pardon. We need to take a break now. When we come back, you will continue. Thank you very much. We'll be back shortly.